So you want to build a team like a Dokkan Pro. How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We got another Dokkan battle video. Today we have a short little video on how to build the best Dokkan teams. In this video, we're going to go over the 6 steps that I go through in order to build a team for various different stages, depending on what we want to do. So sit back, relax, and let's hit it. So we will be going through this video showing you how to build a team for 3 different events: the Ultimate Red Zone, Battle Hardened Formidable Foes, and the Festival of Battles. So let's start with the Ultimate Red Zone. That's the easiest one to understand. So the very first thing we always go through in our 6 steps is the stage select. From there, we look into leader skill. So once we decide the stage we want, we decide who our leader is, right? Because some leader skills may not be conducive to certain events, and we'll talk about what that is in a second. Then we'll talk about how to manage the links within the team. We'll break this down in full in the first sort of set, but then as we move into the next ones, we won't talk as much about it because the general understanding should be there by that point. From there, we will move into our attackers, right? Managing who our big attackers are going to be to take down the boss. And then from there, we will talk about managing our slot 1s, deciding who our slot 1 units are going to be for said attackers. And then, of course, deciding who our support and our tech units are, right? Those are the 6 steps I go through. So let's start with the stage select, right? This is the first thing that I like to do. So let's say that we've decided on our team, or on an event we want to do, right? We know we want to do Red Zone. We've got 6 attempts today. We've been trying as hard as we can to beat this event. So we're going to go to the, let's do the Vegeta one. So let's say we're building a team for the Vegeta's Story Ultimate Red Zone against the Universal Survival Saga. So one thing we have to know here is who the bosses are, right? So before we even start building the team, we need to know what the bosses are we're dealing with. And what I like to do in order to manage that, right, help us understand, is of course head on over to the Dokkan wiki here. So if we go ahead and we we'll transition over here real quick. Right, so if you look on screen here, you guys can see that we have we have the Vegeta's Story Ultimate Red Zone. So what we do here is we go look at the Universal Survival Saga and we see what we're dealing with. So we know that the first stage here is an Int, right? Second stage is Fizz, Tech, Fizz, STR. So we know the final boss is STR. We know the final boss that has a 350 million HP and is dealing a 5.7 million super, right? Those are the things that we want to look at. We then want to look at his super attack effects. So we know that here we're going to have to deal with sealing and dodge locking, meaning we can't dodge, and that, after a while he does get weaker, right? So if we can play around those things, we know we're going to be successful here. We want to take a look at if there are any other bosses that might give us trouble. It would look here like the first 3 bosses, not really a big issue, except maybe Kato Prisha with that extra 300% on the first turn. So if we can play around that, we're good. Topo looks like he could be a problem with a 4.6 million super and getting stronger with every unarmed super attack he receives. So we want to try to build We want to try to build our team with more Ki Blast supers than unarmed supers, right? Because the Ki Blast supers are going to add to our benefit. But the trade-off to this is his HP isn't all that much, 150 million. So with that in mind, now we can go ahead and we can transition back over to our game here. All right, so if we take a look here now that we're in game, all right, so let's start building our team. So let's decide our leader skill. So let's say for this lead, we decide, you know what, we're gonna run we like the 10th anniversary characters, so we're gonna run the new Tech Vegito as our lead, right? So we can see here that Tech Vegito is Earth Protecting Heroes, Fused Fighters, and Pure Saiyans. So that means what I'm going to do now, right, is I'm going to filter. I'm going to filter the categories here. So Pure Saiyans, Earth Protecting Heroes, and Fused Fighters. Always run partial match, so that way you can see all of the units under the leader skill, even if they are under the 170. So now that we've decided our leader skill and we've decided our event, right? Remember, the next thing we have to talk about is managing links. And so what I like to use for this one, I've shown this multiple times in our individual team building guides, but I do like to use the Dokkan FYI. I feel that that is one of the better places to go to get a good feel for the units and who they're going to be best partners with, right? So if we go ahead and we transition one more time back over to in-game here, or rather over to the page here. So if you guys can see here, right, we have the Dokkan FYI. It is one of the more useful tools due to the breakdown of links. We can select any category. We're just going to keep it open-ended for this one since we're running 3 categories. And we can see his 6 link partners. So, right, we can see he links really well with the AGL Goku portion of the AGL Gogeta. But we can see here he shares 5 links with pretty much all of the top characters in the game. STR Goku and Gohan, the Gods, Int Gohan, Fizz Gohan, Namek Goku, AGL Vegeta of the AGL Gogeta, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Daima Goku, right? Super Saiyan 4 Goku, the trio, right? They're just, I mean, he shares a lot of links with a lot of good characters. And I mean, that's just nature of him being a Super Saiyan Goku. And even 4 links, right? Tons of great 4 link partners. The Brolys, Gogeta, the Fours, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, the 8-year duos, Trunks, Vegito, UI Gokus, right? I mean, it's just a great amount. Like, he is, Super Saiyan Gokus are always going to have a great advantage to who they are due to links. It's just the very nature. They give them the most versatile link set. So given that, we now know who we can build our team back around. So if we go ahead and come back into game here. Alright, and now let's put our team together here. So, we need a good partner for him, right? We're going to have 2 of them. We don't necessarily want to have them both on the same rotation, and we need a good partner. Now, because he is, this actually goes into our next thing here with attackers, right? Attackers are usually your slot 2 units, so this guy, for the first 3 turns, is going to be an attacker, and then after that, he's going to switch to a defender, our slot 1 unit. So given that, alright, what I like to do is I like to have a rotation of him and the AGL Gogeta. This kind of plays around both of their abilities, where we can switch them back and forth between attack and defense mode. From there, we go and we build a team. Let's say we want to use a, let's say we want to use possibly the, what would be a good one? Okay, so let's say we want to use the LR, where are they? Okay, let's say we want to use the LR Super Saiyan 4s, right? They're a fun unit to use. They can be really powerful. They can help us, right? They are going to be another attacker. Now, the nice thing about these guys is they stack, right? Because this is Red Zone, we want units that can build attack and defense over time. Because they stack, they can actually help us in slot 2 or 3, depending on where we need them. And they have a really, really great partner in the other Goku, but for the purposes of this, we're going to put him in, we're going to put a different unit here just for the building of the team. So, right, we want them with another good partner, right? So a good partner for them who will share 6 links with them is the, where is it? The AGL Super Saiyan for Goku, right? So once he transforms, they become great partners. And that is basically the core of our team. One rotation of the Vegito and Gogeta, the other rotation of the LR4s and Super Saiyan 4 Goku. That is the core of the team. When you build a team, you always want to focus on who is your core, your attackers, right? Who is going to be the core of your team? Who is going to be doing the most damage and helping you out the most? And once you decide your core, you can then build around that. So now that we have our core, we have 2 open slots on the team for support type units. Right? We have our slot 1 set, we have our attacker set. So now we decide our support. Support in this case is going to be floating. They can be offensive support or they can be defensive support. What do I mean by that? Well, like an offensive support in this case, right, depending on the fight, would be someone like Gotenks. No longer is Gotenks running slot 1. You could put him slot 1 if you want, but what he was going to end up providing is extra offense in slot 3. Or, right, you could go defensive support, right? Defensive support are units, who don't really do much damage, but offer like a passive support. So someone like, a good one for this team actually, is the STR, where is he? STR Gogeta. STR Gogeta will give attack 77% to the team, as well as having both guard and damage reduction depending on the spheres we get. So he could actually be incredibly helpful here, right? STR Gogeta. He would actually be very, very helpful here. So he is going to be one of our other support units. And then from there, we have one more option for support. And that, again, this could be offensive. So we have one piece of defensive support, and it's also kind of offensive. But we'll bring now a secondary offensive support. So one floating support for the passive support, and we'll bring one offensive support. And so I feel like for that one, a good character for that is... Oh, not you. We don't want... I mean, he would be good. He would be good. But for the sake of this, right, a good offensive support unit would be someone like this guy, right? You're no longer going to keep this guy on rotation, but he has things like stunning, which can help in the early phases of some of these fights. And once he transforms, when you fall below 70%, he becomes an incredibly powerful unit, throwing out, 45, 50, 60 million supers, depending on his additionals. He makes a great filler unit, all right? And that's typically what your 7th slot is for. So this team would have 0 issues completing the Jiren red zone that you just saw above. It's going to be a difficult fight, but this team would actually do well. If you want to stack the deck even more in your favor, right? We know the final phase is AGL or is STR, so we could stack up with some AGL types, right? This guy, while not as good as he once was, could make an excellent 3rd slot unit, although, if you're going for 3rd slot floating offensive support, the Fizz Goku is probably going to be the better choice, but AGL would help in that final phase, because remember, nobody here can dodge, so you don't want to bring dodgers, right? So like UI Goku would be a great one if this stage didn't cancel dodge. AGL Vegito would be another good one. For this team, in this event, he would actually be both offensive and defensive support, because not only is he providing passive support, he is providing offensive support through his counters, which he'll never be in danger of a super in that fight, especially if he's going to be in the 3rd slot. And even if he is, by that point you have your scouter up, so he could be very, very helpful there. But for now, we'll leave the team as we put it. So Fizz, where is he? Okay, so this is our team for Red Zone Jiren. This team will get us through. It covers all of the basics that we showed here, based on leader skill, managing our links, utilizing our attackers, our slot 1, and our support type units. So next we're going to jump in and we're going to show you how to build a team for battle-hardened formidable foes, right? So first things first, as always, we go into the stage select, right? That is always, for me, this step comes before anything else. Decide what event you're gonna do before you start building the team. It becomes much harder to build it becomes much harder to do it the reverse. So let's say we're going to take down Movie Edition 4, right? So Movie Edition 4 is this event right here. So if we pull this up and transition over, right? So let's pull up Battle Hardened Formidable Foes. So let's take a look here. Right, so if we look here, Battle Hardened Formidable Foe, so we're going to go Movie Stage 4, one of the harder stages. So we know in this stage we have one fight against Beerus and Whis, we have one fight against Frieza, and one fight against Broly. We know that the Broly has an AoE super that we're going to have to manage to build around. So we're going to build around dealing with that. Now, I've talked at length about what's necessary for Battle Hardened Formidable Foes, so we're going to build around that. And we kind of already have a team here for you guys. So if we take a look here, let's switch back into the game here. All right, so again, we chose our stage. Now we're going to select our leader skill. So for the purposes of this, we are going to run this time AGL Gogeta as our lead. We can see that AGL Gogeta leads Successors, Fused Fighters, and Pure Saiyans. Battle Hardened Formidable Foes is different than Red Zone. Red Zone is a long style event. You are taking anywhere between 11 to 15 turns to beat the event. Each fight is finishing in no more than 4 turns. You might get to 5, but very rarely will you, right? No more than 4 turns. This makes AGL Gogeta ideal for this, right? The previous team builds up to a big finale with Vegito and all these big active skills, but this team does quite the opposite. This team is designed to effectively take down each portion of the event. Right, starting with our leader. So we decided our leader to be this guy. The reason we chose this guy is because of what he does when he exchanges on turn 4. He gives us access to this ability, a Ghost Usher ability. So we're going to build our team around allowing him to utilize that on turn 4. So what we need is good, strong turn 1 units that can stall us until that point. So for that, right, we get into our next topic of managing links. So we need to set up characters that are going to link well with him, as well as perform well. So good characters that link up with him are, as we saw, 4 links, just like with the other one, the God Goku and Vegeta and the Super Saiyan 4. So the basic plan here is to utilize 1 rotation of the gods and a Vegeta, and the 4s and a Vegeta. This will allow us to get through turns 1 through 3, and then on turn 4, use a Ghost Usher to be able to eliminate the boss's attacks entirely, transform the gods or the 4s, and then finish off the boss. We have here our floating support units. We have the offensive and defensive support through Vegito. Now, because every boss we saw there is extreme, he's going to be activating his extreme passive, which is getting not only attack and defense 100% for himself, he gets to give allies 30% defense, right? So very, very helpful. Same goes for the Gogeta here. The Gogeta, since everybody is extreme, we will be getting 77% attack and defense, and then performing critical hit and guards all attacks. So very, very helpful. And then his support, of course, is 40% attack to all allies. So very, very he's going to be really good. His additional, right, what makes Gogeta good for this fight, along with a few others, is, right, he, on his, where is it here? There it is, right? So he has both crit and effective against all types, and a lot of these bosses get weaker based on hits done, right? So when he does land an attack, he will also be able to deal damage and lower the enemy's attack and defense even further, right? So if we try, if we go and we take a look at the bosses here real quick, right, we can see Beerus can be attack and defense lowered. Frieza can be attack and defense lowered. Broly can be attack and defense lowered. This makes Gogeta an excellent unit to help with this fight, more so than probably any of the other units you could possibly bring with you. So very, very helpful there. And then our last unit here that we're going to bring is the STR Hercule. He is more of a stopgap unit, right? He is going to evade pretty much every attack, and the few attacks that he doesn't, he's going to survive the KO thanks to his ability here. And so that's all he is. He's meant to stall the turn so you can get to the next turn and pop one of those actives to help you out. Plus, of course, he is supporting those that are on Earth protecting heroes here. So really, really valuable support type unit for the team. And this team will very, very reliably, consistently clear out this event due to the setup here. So we're building this team with the intention of being able to quickly and swiftly take down the boss with minimizing damage on ourselves, right? Our slot 1 units through the Goku, the Super Saiyan 4s and the Gods, who on turn 1 have that extra guard and damage reduction, they're pretty much solid turn 1. So as long as they can get their key, turn 2 or turn 3 that they're up, they will have almost no issues defensively as long as you set it up correctly. So that is how to build a team for battle-hardened, formidable foes. So up next, we have the Festival of Battles, right? Now this event, the building the team is a little bit different than building for some of the other teams here, because this event is a 50-phase event that can take 2+ hours, and there's really only one setup to utilize here. And so I'm going to show that setup here on screen. So I still went through, so let's pull it up here. Okay, yeah, here we go. All right, so there's basically only one setup here. Let's switch the friend real quick, and then I'm going to explain. So for the Festival of Battles, one of the hardest events currently, there's basically only a few teams you can run. The thing you need for Festival of Battles, knowing that it is as long as when you build your team, it's a little bit different, right? Normally, right, I say stage select then leader skill, but for this one, right, you're going to run no matter what one of these two leader skills. You are either going to run this leader skill or this leader skill. That's just unfortunately how it is where the game is currently at. There are no other stacking leads that are going to help you, and because the event is as long as it is, almost every unit on your team needs to be able to stack. So the last time we took on this event, this was the team that I used. It follows all the same criteria I showed before. I'm actually going to swap a character in here. Instead of Frieza, we're going to have Int Namek Goku. So this team is basically the go-to team for Festival of Battles. It covers everything I said. It covers your slot 1 units, right? These guys are going to be your slot 1. And then your Vegetos are going to be your slot 2 on each rotation, right? So one rotation is going to have your attacker with the Goku, who will swap into Vegeta here and become your slot 1. And then you'll have these guys in slot 2 while he's in slot 1. And you're just going to keep stacking and stacking defense until you get to a comfortable enough place to swap him back into Goku. Your other rotation will have Namek Goku as your slot 1, and then your Goku and Vegeta as the other unit. And the rest are floating while stacking. And then that's pretty much it. Building for Festival of Battles is pretty much the same. You might have 1 or 2 variations here, swapping out the Namek Goku, but basically everybody else is the same on this event. Currently, that may change in the near future, and if it does, I will update the team building video, but I feel like, you know, this is pretty much where it's at. You know, if you look at any team that is run this way, that is run against this event, this is basically the setup they run, unless, you know, a character is not on Vegeta's leader skill. But the setup you have here, everyone here is on both Goku and Vegeta's Pure Saiyans lead, which is pretty much the only way to do it. So, guys, that is it for the video. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. As we mentioned in this video, we went over how to build a team utilizing the following 6 steps. Number 1, selecting your stage. Number 2, managing your leader skill. Number 3, managing your links. Number 4, selecting your attackers. Number 5, managing your slot 1s to link with your attackers. And then choosing good supports and good techs to help out the team. If you guys like that, if you found this helpful, let us know in the comments down below. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and aloha.